In this video, me and Sammy are going to be ranking every single mob in Minecraft, including the Happy Guest. So, here we have our tier list, so let's begin.
Alright, so what's our first mob?
Okay, so of course in these chests we have all the mobs, and the first one is the sheep.
Okay. Here you go. Okay, so place the sheep down.
Oh, okay.
We're doing there we go.
Okay, there we go. So the sheep, I feel like
it's pretty good. But at least we can get wool from it.
yeah, the sheep give wool and of course the beds. And it's a pretty basic mob. I feel like when they did like all the changes with the cows and the pigs, they could have done something to the sheep. They did make it so that like different colors now would spawn.
Yeah.
But I feel like something else would have been a bit cooler. But I feel like the sheep are like really useful, of course.
I think we should put it on like a
Maybe yeah, I think A tier because it's not an S tier, but it's it's really useful.
Yeah, okay. So the next mob we have here is the wolf.
Okay, put down the wolf. Oh no. This is not going to plan. Okay.
There you go.
Okay, so the wolf, basically, I think of course it is probably better than a cat. Yeah. I would say. And now because it can actually attack things, and now with the wolf armor, I feel like they are a little bit more useful than they previously were, and yeah, I honestly think that the wolf would probably be
S tier.
Yeah, I think S tier would be pretty good.
Boom.
Okay.
All right.
Next up, we have the chicken. So the chicken, so the chicken alongside the pig and the cow, they got the changes. So the changes of basically the cold and the warm variants, and actually we can spawn these. So if we get brown, so there's one, and there's okay. So here are all the different versions, and if we want to give them seeds, this is the warm one, and we have the cold one. So here are all three of the chickens, and I feel like chickens out of the four like farm animals are probably the worst, but they can be good if you're making a like a food farm. But out of I feel like they're pretty good, and out of the four, I think they are better than cows and pigs, because the chickens can easily be made into a food farm.
Sure. So we put in like a B.
No, I think A because it's as good as a sheep.
True.
Okay, so there's a chicken.
All right. Up next we have the bee.
Okay, so the bee also, I think the bee released
1.5.
1.15.
Oh.
And it of course brought honey, and I feel like with the honeycombs and all that stuff, it's a little bit annoying to actually get a use of. And
yeah,
aside of honey, like giving honey for like redstone stuff, I feel like it's not too useful. So I feel like I think it would be in B tier if it wasn't if we weren't really involving what actually honey does for us.
We have the cow.
Okay, so yeah, we were just saying, so the cow I feel like isn't as useful, but it can give us milk, and it can be a food source. So I would probably also put it in B tier.
And it's also like the chicken and the sheep.
Yeah,
they got the forms.
Yeah. Okay, and also right now we'll quickly do the pig. Same thing like the cow. It's a good food source, but I feel like chickens and sheep are definitely better. Well, but also you have to remember that pigs can be ridden using a saddle and a carrot on a stick.
True.
But that's also really slow and definitely not what I would pick to travel around. So I would also think B tier.
Alright, up next we have the ocelot.
Okay, the ocelot. Okay, so the ocelot, I feel like this mob is pretty useless.
Yeah.
It literally has nothing, no capabilities. It only kills chickens, and it spawns in the jungle. And you can't...
Tier.
Yeah, Okay, yeah, we might change the ocelot. We might put it into C tier later on, but right now it's F tier because it's pretty bad.
Alright, up next we have...
Okay, oh yeah. Okay, next up we have the polar bear. Okay, so like the ocelot, also this one spawns pretty rarely and is also doesn't do anything. It just attacks. It can just attack you.
F tier, I think.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Okay.
Up next we have. Oh, yeah.
Up next we have the cat. So of course there's a lot of different cats here, and I feel like the cat, like the wolf, is also really good.
Yeah.
And of course, when you're sleeping, there's a chance to give it things. And for all the people who like cats, it could be really it could be better than wolves. But I feel like capability wise, I feel like we could put it into A tier.
Yeah, A tier. All right, up next, after cat, we have the mushroom.
Okay, the mushroom. So if you grab a bowl with for the mushroom, you can obtain suspicious. You can get mushrooms too, actually, which can be used to make suspicious stew. So it's pretty useful. But I do think since it spawns very rare, I feel like it is less useful than the.
C or B?
I think C tier, the mushroom.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Because I think you can make mushroom stew, and you don't need that.
Up next, we have the bat.
Okay, this is another really useless mob. I feel like it does give some ambience, but it's
like if you're doing like a Halloween tape.
yeah, but it's not very useful. So I'd also put that in F tier. Yeah.
All right. Up next.
Up next, we have the parrot. So I feel like the parrot is a pretty cool mob. There's like different types, and if you feed it, seeds, you can. If you make it stay, you can have it on your shoulder.
Ah.
So I feel like it is a pretty useful pet. No, not too useful, but I think maybe B tier. Okay, so now, yeah, so we're gonna need some more item frames. There we go.
All right. Up next, we have the bunny.
Okay, so also bunnies are oh my
the
gosh.
cats are getting them.
Okay, well, what I was gonna say is that you can also get food from bunnies. You can get
Raw rabbit.
you can also get a rabbit's foot from the which can be made to give like luck and leaping potions, which can be useful. But aside of that, they are quite annoying if you want to like bring them to like an area.
C tier, I think.
Yeah, I think C tier.
All right. After rabbit, we have
llama. Okay, so also with the llama, I feel like these guys.
Can travel with you and like
Yeah, these guys.
Transportation wise.
Yeah, and can hold items,
True.
and I think they're pretty useful. So I think put them in B tier.
Yep. All right.
Because there's some better ones.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we have the horse.
Oh, okay. So the horse I feel like is right now the best transportation aside of things like elytra.
S
But
tier.
no, I think I would put them in A tier.
A
Because
tier?
I feel like horses have a lot to change, like when you're like breeding them and
True.
basically trying to like get specific things.
All right. Up next, we have
The donkey.
Yeah.
Okay, so the donkey, like the horse, is the donkey is definitely slower, but with the donkey, you can put chests on it. So I feel like it's good like a horse, but I feel like it is a bit worse than a horse.
Yeah. I think B tier.
Because I feel like I think there's better things. For example, like the mule, which is basically a combination of both. But I feel like it's much better than mule. So I would probably put the mule in
C tier.
or A tier.
Boom. All right. Up next, we are going to have.
We have the skeleton horse. So I feel like the skeleton horse is like also really good because it can go underwater, and it can be really fast if you get a specific one. So I would also put that one in A tier.
All right. We have the creeper.
Okay, the creeper I feel like it can be really annoying, but also
Yeah.
it's very it's like basically it's sometimes the face of Minecraft. So I think
it's iconic.
I think
S
I would
tier.
yeah I think I'd put it in S tier for that reason.
Yep. It's like the mascot.
Yeah. Okay, next up we have the Enderman,
Yeah, the Enderman.
which is not too. It's a pretty interesting mob,
And you
and
can get Ender Pearl from it.
yeah. So
A
I think
tier, I think.
yeah, I think A tier.
All right. Up next, we have the
The silverfish. The silverfish is really annoying and doesn't really do too much to
Yeah,
the game, so
true.
I think F tier.
Yeah, F tier. All right. Up next, we are going to have the skeleton.
Oh, okay,
and
it's burning. Okay, but the skeleton is really annoying, so I would honestly put the skeleton in C tier. But you can get both from it,
True. Yeah, I think C tier.
or maybe I think B tier.
Yeah, I think B tier would be good. Okay. Alright, up next we are going to have.
So wither skeletons are useful for their heads for the wither, but aside of that, they're pretty bad. So I think I would put those in Z tier.
C tier?
because they're pretty annoying to fight off too.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So now after the wither skeleton.
We have the stray, so another. Oh, and it's running too.
Oh.
Okay, I think I should set the time to
Night.
night because.
Oh, and it just fell.
Okay. I'm gonna. Oh, it's still burning.
That's weird. Oh well.
Okay, well the stray is probably worse than both of them,
Yeah.
and doesn't really serve much of a purpose. So
F.
I think I would put it in C tier. No, actually, I think F tier.
Yeah. All right. Up next we have the slime cube.
Yeah, the slime can be pretty useful, but also pretty annoying at the same time.
Like slime blocks.
Yeah, for slime blocks and stuff like that.
I think we should.
I
put it in
I
C
think
tier.
no, I think B tier actually. Like the B, it's good for the redstone use, but yeah.
All right. We are after the slime cube. We have the guardian.
Ooh, okay. So the guardian is also really annoying and doesn't actually the guardian can be good for a guardian farm with prismarine. So I think I would put it in B tier.
B tier. Okay.
Okay, next up we have the cave spider. These guys are much annoying than normal spiders because they are poisonous. So I would probably put them in probably F tier. They're really annoying.
Glow squid.
Okay, just put it in the water over here.
All right.
Okay, we'll do both. So we have squid and glow squid. I feel like glow squid is definitely better and maybe could
glowing
be.
sacks.
Yeah, I think the normal squid in C tier and then the glow squid in B tier.
All right. Wait, so glow squid in B tier?
Yeah, because I feel like these normal squids can be good for black dye and stuff, but
Sure.
but the glow ink sacks I feel like are really useful, just for sign wise.
All right, let's head to the water again because we have the drowned.
Okay, so the drowned are good for tridents, of course.
Yeah.
I feel like they could be a B tier, but the actual mob, I feel like what's bringing them down to a B tier is the actual mob. It's really annoying when you're trying to swim or something.
Sure.
So yeah, so I think B tier also. Next up, we have the husk, another zombie, and the husk also doesn't really do anything. It just walks around the desert like a normal zombie, and I feel like I feel like this would probably go into C tier.
All right. After that, we have the zombified piglin.
Okay, the zombified piglin is basically, I feel like it's definitely worse than a piglin, which
Yeah.
we haven't got yet.
Mhm.
But if you're in like a specific situation, you can make it's good to make a zombified piglin farm for gold nuggets.
True.
So I feel like probably B tier.
A B tier. All right.
Yeah.
We're getting lots of B.
Okay, zombie. Now it's the classic zombie, and I feel like just like skeletons, they would probably also go into B tier
Yeah.
because I think actually probably C tier because the skeletons actually drop bones and
Yeah, and bows.
yeah, zombies drop broth and flesh and a very rare chance of gold and stuff.
All
No,
right.
of-
We have the iconic spider.
Okay, but yeah, so zombies drop iron ingots, which can be good if you're in a specific situation. Okay, yeah, the spider. So the spider, I feel like would also be in a B tier because it drops string and can be good for spider farms.
All right. Up next, we have the
Okay, let's
elder
go. Oh,
guardian.
okay. So the elder guardian is. Where do we put the normal guardian?
We put that in
B
B
tier.
tier.
Okay, I think the elder guardian is
Better.
no. I think it might be worse because
Yeah, it
Is
does.
it-
It gets the effect after.
yeah, it gives you the effect and it doesn't really drop anything. So I feel like out of all the bosses in the Minecraft games, no, I feel like all the bosses in Minecraft, that's probably the worst one that we've had.
Okay. And
Okay, next up is the Endermite. The Endermite is really annoying when you throw an Ender Pearl, unless you're using it for some sort of like prank or trap.
True.
It's not good at all. So I
F
think
tier.
that would be F tier. Yeah.
Up next, we have the magma cube.
Okay, the magma cube normally just drops magma cream, which I guess is good for potions. But recently, combined with the frogs, it can give you some really good frog lights. So I honestly would think C tier because it's not.
tier?
Yeah, it's not an F tier, but I think C tier is good.
Okay. And after the magma cube,
We have the witch.
Yeah, the witch.
Okay, so the witch I feel like is just basically not very good. It can drop.
Potions.
Yeah, it can drop potions and things like redstone, which can be good in for a redstone farm. So I think just probably C tier because if we're just looking at the actual witch as just as the mob, it's not very good. Okay,
Strider.
the Strider is probably C tier too because it's good for the Nether
Yeah.
to travel, but it's very slow, and you need like it's just quite annoying. Okay, so now we're in the Nether, and we have 3 Nether mobs. We have the Piglin, Hoglin, and the Piglin Brute. This is from editing, and I don't know why, but for some reason there is a loud parrot sound, and I'm gonna guess it's a bug, and I didn't catch it when we were actually recording, but it does stop later on in the video, so it's not too long, but it is quite annoying. Okay, so first let's talk about the Piglin. I think, what do you think? I think because the Piglin is really useful as it can trade things,
Yeah.
but it's also quite annoying if you're not wearing gold.
True.
So I think maybe like an A tier for this one, yeah. Okay, and then we have the Piglin Brute over here, which doesn't do anything. It's just really annoying when you go into Bastions because it does so much damage. So maybe like
F tier.
or maybe yeah, F tier I think.
And
Okay.
then we got the Zoglin.
Or no, this is just a Hoglin.
Oh, Hoglin.
Yeah, so
Oh, wait.
I think maybe B tier because if you're in the Nether and you kill it with like you get pork chops.
Yeah, true.
So maybe B tier.
Alright, so let's head back. So,
Okay, so yeah, like we said, we'll put the Piglin Brute there. We'll put the Hoglin there, and then in A tier we'll put the Piglet. Okay, going back down. Next up we have the Zoglin. Okay, so the Zoglin is basically just. Oh my god, what is happening over there? The Zoglin is basically just the worst version of the Hoglin because it doesn't actually drop anything. So I think probably F tier because it doesn't do anything.
oh wait a minute. You use Zoglins to kill the Elder Guardian. Okay, now that's useful.
Yeah, but when will you bring a Hoglin to the overworld just to kill one of those guys?
True.
Okay, so next up we have the Fox. I feel like the Fox is not very useful, but it can be a cool mob. So I think maybe C tier.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we have Pandas. There we go. Okay, next up we have Pandas, and I don't think Pandas do too much.
C tier maybe.
Yeah, I think C tier. I think they do have some like niche mechanics, but not too much. Okay, next up we have the Turtle. So the Turtle can give you turtle eggs, which are quite useful for farms, and it can give you the Turtle Helmet, which I don't think is too useful, but it can also give you the potion of Turtle Master. So I think maybe B tier because it has some mechanics, but it's not too good. Okay, up next we have the Dolphin. Okay, actually we each have a lot of aquatic mobs, so let's go to the water for these. Okay, first we have Dolphin, which can, when you're swimming, is pretty good. So, and it gives you some other cool effects. So maybe I think B tier also.
Alright, next we have the Salmon.
Yeah, so the salmon can be good for food, but other than that, it doesn't really have purpose.
C tier.
And yeah, okay. So then pufferfish can be good for traps, so but it's not too useful otherwise. So also probably C tier. We have tropical fish, which I think maybe actually B tier because they're you can use them for axolotls, and there's a lot of different versions of them.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so let's go put those.
Next we have the Zombie Horse.
Okay, the zombie horse is like the skeleton horse, pretty useful, but actually you can't get it in survival mode.
Oh.
So if we were just looking at it, like if you could get it, probably B tier.
B tier?
Yeah, because you can't actually get it, but if you could somehow get it, probably B tier. Okay, now we're going back to the water because we have one more fish. It's the cod. And the cod, like salmon, not too useful. You can get it to get fish, I guess. But other than that, not too useful. So probably same tier as salmon, so S tier. C tier. Okay, next up we have the blaze. Okay, so if you put a blaze, blazes are of course like really good. You need them for the end to get Eyes of Ender. Of course, you need the blaze powder, which I feel that's like no, because you need blaze rods for potions and stuff.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is probably A tier because
yeah, it's useful and to also beat the game.
So probably A tier.
Alright, and next we have the Shulker.
Yeah, just the Shulker. So I feel like the Shulker, of course, it's good for Shulker boxes, but it's also really annoying to defeat as it levitates you. So probably B tier.
B tier? Alright.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the next chest. we have Vindicators and Evokers.
Okay.
So the Vindicators don't really do too much. They can drop axes and stuff. So maybe just C tier because they're not. But then on the other hand, we have Evokers, which are really powerful and annoying, but they do drop totems. So I think maybe A tier.
All right.
Because they're really good in farms.
Next we have the Vex.
Okay, I think the Vex would probably go in F tier because it's really
it's so annoying.
So just put it in F tier. Okay, next up we have the Villager. And most of you know that the Villagers are very useful in trades, so that would probably put in A tier. But they are really annoying to transport, but if you do end up transporting them, they are really good.
Next we have the Wandering Trader.
The Wandering Trader can be good for trades, but most of the time you can easily get the items. So probably B tier.
B tier? Okay.
Yeah, because it can be useful.
Alright, up next we have the Zombie Villager.
Oh, and it's burning. Okay. These zombie villagers aren't too useful unless you're just trying to, instead of transporting villagers, you just want to bring a zombie villager. You just want to cure a zombie villager. They can be pretty useful. And if you're referring to the zombie villager when you're curing them, like when you turn one into a zombie and then curing them, they can be really useful. So maybe just B tier also. They're okay.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we have the Phantom. The Phantom is probably one of the most annoying mobs because 3 days, if you think about it, isn't a lot to sleep. Because if you're in the mines or if you're like anywhere else, you basically, once you come back, the Phantoms will just swarm you. So F tier because Phantom membranes can be good, but if you basically just have mending or something, you can just do that.
Alright, next we have the Pillager.
Okay, the Pillager like the Vindicator, the same thing. I don't think it's too useful, so I would probably put it in B tier. No, C tier.
D tier, okay.
Yeah, C tier, but you can get crossbows, but like the crossbows aren't. You can just easily craft crossbows.
Alright, next we have the Ravager.
Okay, the Ravager isn't too useful. It's quite annoying, so I think I would also put it in C tier. Okay, so next up we have, what is it?
The Iron Golem.
Okay, the Iron Golem, oh, yeah, as you can see, it is already defeating a Ravager. So they can be pretty useful, and they're actually really useful for iron farms, so maybe A tier. Because the only way they can be bad is basically if you are trying to defeat it, which isn't technically its purpose, but if you're trying to defeat it, like, they can be easily defeating. So I think
it's also for defense.
Yeah, and it's good for iron farms. So I think A
B
tier.
A tier, definitely.
Yeah. Because I think yeah, okay. So next up we have the Snow Golem. Okay, the Snow Golem isn't too useful. It can attack enemies, and like put snow everywhere, but I don't think other than that, oh, it already died. I don't think it's too useful. So probably C tier. It's not F tier because I think it does have some uses, but
yeah,
not anything higher. All right.
Next we have the Sniffer.
Okay, the Sniffer is good for those 2 plants if you want them, but other than that, they are pretty bad. And
C tier.
Yeah, I think C tier. I think they're a big letdown because
True.
They could have been quite a lot more. Okay, yeah. Next up we have the Breeze. So the Breeze is. Oh, it already died. Okay.
Anyways.
The Breeze is a really good, cool mob because basically it throws wind charges and it's really good to get wind charges. So I feel like probably B tier would be best for this one.
Alright, and after
we have the Armadillo. So the Armadillo, like we were talking about with the wolves, these guys are for wolf armor, but they don't have any other uses. So I think also these guys would be in B tier because they don't really have too much of a use. They can be cool, but I think B tier is pretty good.
Up next we have the Bog.
Okay, the Bogged, like the Stray and all those, it isn't too useful, but I feel like where did we put the Stray and stuff? Okay, we put him in C tier. I think maybe C tier too.
Yeah. All right. Up next we have the Creaking.
Okay, so the Creaking is also a really interesting mob. It can be. It doesn't really. Oh.
Oh wow.
Okay,
thanks.
well, it doesn't really have too much of a use. So if we just put a Creaking, it doesn't have too much of a use unless you're making like some sort of game mechanic or something interesting like that. But other than that, it's not very useful. It can be good for resin and stuff, but I think C tier.
Okay, and after the creaking, we are going to have...
We have the goat. So the goats are really useful for goat horns, and other than that, not much. So I think maybe actually B tier too.
Yeah.
It's like the armadillos, they're good for one thing.
Alright, and we're going to go to the water because we have the axolotl.
Okay, so the axolotl, of course, comes in multiple colors. And it has the famous blue color, which is really rare. So I feel like axolotls would maybe be in B tier because they can defeat things, but they aren't too powerful. So maybe, yeah, I think B tier.
Yeah, B tier. Alright.
Okay, and then next up after that, we have the famous warden. So the warden, of course, is one of the most powerful mobs, which can get it quite high on the list. But other than that, it doesn't... Oh, they're fighting. Oh, yeah, okay. But other than that, it doesn't really have too much of use. Like, other bosses, like the Ender Dragon, of course, gives you the Ender Egg, the Wither Star, Elder Guardians. Well, the Elder Guardians don't give you too much. They're protecting something. But the Warden doesn't drop anything. It actually drops the Skull Catalyst or the Skull Sensor, which isn't too useful.
Yeah.
So, no, I think maybe B tier because it's a really cool mob, but...
Up next, we have the LA.
Okay, the LA also quite a letdown. I feel like that would also be in C tier because its only use is like to pick up other items. So like the sniffer wasn't too good.
Okay, up next we have the frog.
Okay, I feel like the frog, like the magma cube, can be really good for frog lights. So probably also C tier.
Okay.
Okay, so tadpole is useless because it only goes into the frog.
We have the trader llama.
Okay, so the trader llama, hold on, where do we put the wandering trader? In F, because the trader llama is not any different than just a normal llama. It basically just works.
Yeah, F tier. Alright, up next we have the camel.
Okay, the camel can be pretty decent, so I think C tier. It's not, it doesn't have too much uses, but for transportation, I guess.
Up next we have the ghast.
Okay, so the ghast is, yeah, it can give you, it can't give you too much stuff. Now it can give you the music disc and other things, but not too much if you think. Actually, it can give you, I think actually B tier because it can give you end crystals and stuff like that.
Ah, true, actually.
From the gas tier, so I think pretty useful. Okay, so for this one, we're also going to go to the nether.
Yeah.
Okay, next up we have the wither. So if we just spawn it using the 3, boom, here's the wither. So the wither I feel like is really useful for beacons, and it is on Bedrock at least. It is really hard to defeat, as you can see. But I think it is a really cool mob. So I think maybe A tier because it does give you the beacon. Okay, so next up we have to go to the end, of course, and most likely you know what this is gonna be. So putting the end of eyes. There we go. We go to the end. Okay, so of course in the end we have the Ender Dragon. So the Ender Dragon is not too hard of a boss and isn't actually, unless you're looking for XP and stuff, it isn't actually too useful if you think about it. It does give you the Ender, it does technically stop you from going to get shulker boxes and elytras, but other than that, it's not too useful. So I think maybe B tier for that. Okay, so if we'll use the dragon eggs basically as a symbol for it. So we said it would be here. There we go. Okay, now we have
the happy ghast.
Okay, so the happy ghast technically isn't out yet, but I feel like this mob is also probably an S tier because it is a really cool mob and a really cool design. Even though the actual ghast just basically looks like a ghast but just smiling, I feel like I feel like just how it's used is really cool. So I would probably put it into S tier. Okay, so now let's see if there's anything we would change. So we have Wolf, Creeper, and Happy Ghast in S tier, and then we have all of these in A tier.
Oh my gosh.
We have all of these in B tier, all of these in C tier, and then all of these in F tier. So what do you think about our ranking of basically every single mob in Minecraft, including the Happy Ghast? So let me know in the comments down below, and we'll see you in the next video. So make sure to stay tuned and subscribe.
Bye.